Global warming, it affects everything around you. It affects your backyard to your front yard. It affects species alike from every dimension, every corner of this world. Today I'm here to talk to you about global warming on the effects of the Antarctic Ocean, sea, and the peninsula around it. The life forms that are around it, like penguins. Emperor penguins are one of the species affected by global warming and the melting and the heating up of water that's going around in the Arctic Sea and the Arctic Ocean. Emperor penguins usually lay their eggs and have the males sit on the eggs for about 2 months. But when there's glaciers that are melting and sending these eggs into the ocean while they're hatching prematurely, their feathers are not waterproof, so they end up going into the ocean and dying. And as for these adult emperor penguins, there's no food for them or food supply for them to feed off, since the algae beneath the ice glaciers is not around. The krill usually feeds off this algae, but since the melting ice glaciers are melted at a rapid pace, this krill is not around to feed their chicks or to feed themselves. Now, as for the Adelie penguins, they don't necessarily hatch their eggs on solid ice. What they use is a nest building around pebbles. But when this ice starts to melt, they have nowhere, or a foundation, I would say, to lay their eggs and protect them. And as for that, they have no food supply as well to search for krill or anything else that they need to feed on. So other species that are more adaptable to these warm climates come to their area and feed off the remaining food that's there, and they have nowhere to feed, they have nowhere to go. So these numbers for the Adelie penguins start to decline as the global warming starts to take an effect on the Antarctic Ocean, sea, and surrounding peninsula.
Many animals, from seals and walruses to polar bears and penguins, require sea ice to hunt, increasing the area they can search for food in. Due to climate change and warming weather, the amount of sea ice is dwindling year after year at about 12% per year. The warming of the poles shows no sign of slowing down, and these animals now have to resort to searching farther and farther away from their homes for food, a last-ditch effort which often results in loss of their life. The number of these species are dropping across the board due to starvation. Their young leave the nest due to the same starvation, and they're also targeted by predators. Climate change is causing a domino effect that is affecting the environment and the life within it.
Warm waters can increase fish population, but may also lead to diseases. Although these warm waters may provide a more comfortable environment for fish, the risk of growing diseases in these waters is more prevalent. Toxic algae blooms, for example, are proven to thrive in these warm waters. Aside from diseases causing toxic water, another factor is the change that this will cause to the ecosystem. New species will invade these warm waters and in turn cause the home species of this area possible extinction.
Rapidly reducing global greenhouse gas emissions is the single most important action needed to protect animals from global climate change. If we continue on our current course, global temperature will rise by an average of 2.8 to 4 Celsius in this century, 4 to 6 times more than during the previous centuries. We risk not only losing animals but also destroying the web of life. Leading climate scientists have concluded that the atmospheric carbon dioxide level must be reduced from its current level of 385 parts per million to less than 350 parts per million to prevent dangerous climate change, which includes massive species extinction and catastrophic sea level rise. It is critical, therefore, to reduce other threats to animals, to increase the ability to survive the added pressure from this warming. The biggest one of these threats is industrial fishing. Large-scale commercial fisheries deplete the animal's food source. Other current threats to animals include oil spills, marine pollution, disease, habitat destructions, and human disturbance. One important tool for protecting animals globally in the US, Endangered Species Act. This act is the world's strongest biodiversity protection law that provides important safeguards for animals and plants threatened with extinction.